All right, so you want to like really boost your focus, right? And learn how to train your brain like a genius. Well, strap in. We're diving deep into this article. It's called The Science of Focus, How to Train Your Brain Like a Genius.
Think of this deep dive as like a mental workout routine. We're giving you the tools to fine-tune your brain for peak performance.
Sounds intense. So where do we start?
Well, the article maps out the key parts of your brain that actually drive your focus, like giving you the control panel.
Okay, so like, what are the big players in my brain?
Three main ones, really. First, there's the prefrontal cortex. Think of it as your brain's CEO, like making decisions, setting goals, keeping you on track.
Got it. So what's next on our brain tour?
Next up is the dopaminergic system. Your brain's motivation machine, all about reward and pleasure. It's what keeps you going when things get tough.
Okay, so it's like the drive that keeps me focused.
Right.
What about that last one? What was it? Reticular activating system.
Ah, yes. The RAS. It's like a super filter for your brain, sifting through all the info, deciding what's important and what's just noise, like a spam filter.
Wow, that makes so much sense. So those are our focus MVPs. But here's the thing. The article says all this amazing focus machinery can actually weaken if we're not careful.
It's true. Like if you never exercise, your muscles get weak. Same with your brain. If you're always distracted, trying to do a million things at once, those crucial focus areas don't get the workout they need.
So we're talking like digital distractions always being online.
Exactly. Constant notifications, bouncing between apps, it's a real focus killer. Studies actually show that people who switch tasks a lot are way less efficient. They get mentally wiped out so much faster.
So all that app juggling is making me less productive.
Makes sense. And that ties into that whole multitasking myth. I used to think I was a multitasking master. Well, here's the reality. Your brain is actually wired to focus on just one thing at a time. When you try to do multiple things at once, you're actually rapidly switching back and forth, and that switching comes with a cost.
Wait, so I'm not just getting less done, I'm messing things up too.
Yeah. There's research showing that when people try to multitask, their accuracy goes way down. They make more mistakes. Remember that time you tried to write an email during a conference call?
Don't remind me. Total disaster. So much for being Superwoman. All right, so digital distractions and multitasking are out. What else is dragging down our focus?
Let's not forget a couple of major culprits. Sleep deprivation and a bad diet. You can't expect your brain to run on fumes.
Okay, guilty is charged on both counts. But how much does sleep really matter?
Sleep is crucial. It's a full system reboot for your brain. When you don't get enough, your working memory takes a hit, reactions slow down, and problem solving, forget about it.
So I'm not imagining that I'm sharper after a good night's sleep. What about food? Are there really brain-boosting foods I should be eating?
Think of food as fuel for your focus. Load up on things like omega-3 fatty acids found in salmon and walnuts, and antioxidants. Those are in blueberries, and get this, dark chocolate.
Okay, I'm definitely writing this down. Salmon, walnuts, blueberries, and dark chocolate. Now let's move on to the good stuff. The techniques that can boost our focus to genius levels.
Now we're talking. There are so many strategies out there, all backed by science, that can supercharge your focus.
Okay, first up, deep work. Made famous by Cal Newport, right?
Oh.
What's the deal with deep work?
Deep work is all about carving out dedicated time blocks for intense, focused work.
Okay.
Think about getting into a flow state where you are just completely absorbed in what you are doing. Zero distractions. That's deep work.
That sounds amazing, but how do I actually make that happen, in real life?
One key principle is creating a distraction-free environment. Find a quiet workspace, noise-canceling headphones, silence your phone, anything to keep you in that zone.
It's like building a fortress of focus.
Hmm.
Love it. Distraction-free zone check. What's next?
Well, Newport recommends 90-minute blocks for deep work sessions. That lets you really get into a task. And during those sessions, resist the urge to check email or social media. Even a quick glance can derail your focus.
No peeking. Okay, so 90 minutes of pure focus. Deep work is about creating the perfect outside environment for concentration. But what about training my internal focus?
That's where mindfulness meditation comes in. It's been scientifically proven to actually change your brain structure, increasing gray matter in the areas responsible for attention and emotional control.
Wait, are you serious? Meditation can actually physically help me grow the parts of my brain that control focus. That's incredible. But I'm terrible at sitting still and clearing my mind.
You don't have to be a Zen master to reap the benefits. Even 10 minutes a day can make a huge difference. Just find a quiet spot, close your eyes, focus on your breath.
So no mountaintop meditation required. 10 minutes. Focus on my breath. I can do that. What other focus-boosting techniques do we have?
Well, there's the Pomodoro Technique. It's a classic for time management. It helps you break down work into manageable chunks.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that one. How's it work again?
Super simple. You set a timer for 25 minutes and work on a single task with laser focus. Then take a short 5-minute break. After 4 rounds, a longer break of 15-20 minutes.
I like that it builds and breaks.
Yeah.
I tend to get so caught up in work, I forget to take breaks, and then I just crash.
That's what the Pomodoro Technique is designed to prevent. Regular breaks help you stay refreshed, prevent mental fatigue, you maintain your focus for longer.
Awesome, this is so helpful. I'm already feeling more motivated and equipped to tackle my to-do list. But before we move on, I want to go back to something you said earlier about those 3 key brain areas that control focus. Can you remind me what they were again?
Sure, they are the prefrontal cortex, the dopaminergic system, and the reticular activating system.
Right. And you said that those systems can weaken if we're always bombarding our brains with distractions.
Absolutely. It's like any other muscle in your body. If you don't use it, you lose it.
Okay, so we have to be mindful of the things that weaken our focus,
Mhm.
like those digital distractions and multitasking, right? But then we also need to actively strengthen those brain areas through techniques like deep work, mindfulness, and the Pomodoro Technique.
Precisely. Minimize the things that deplete your focus, maximize the things that boost it.
Now, you mentioned before that nutrition plays a key role in brain health and focus. So what are some of the best brain-boosting foods?
Well, remember we talked about omega-3 fatty acids, essential for brain function. They're in fatty fish like salmon and also walnuts and flax seeds.
Okay, so salmon, walnuts, flax seeds, got it. What else?
Antioxidants, another must-have. They protect your brain from damage. Blueberries are a fantastic source, as are dark chocolate and green tea.
Wow, blueberries and dark chocolate. This brain-boosting diet sounded pretty good. And green tea, I can definitely add that to my routine.
Mhm.
Are there foods we should avoid?
Processed and sugary foods, they can really mess with your energy and focus. They lead to energy crashes and brain fog. The enemies of focus.
So, ditch the junk food and fuel up with brain-boosting goodness. Okay, now let's talk about another crucial aspect of focus: sleep.
Sleep. The foundation of a sharp mind. You can't function at your best without it.
Okay, I know I need more sleep, but sometimes it feels impossible. Any tips for actually getting better sleep?
Consistency is key. Try to stick to a regular sleep schedule, even on weekends. That helps regulate your body's natural sleep-wake cycle. Make sure your bedroom is dark, quiet, and cool.
So, like, create a sleep sanctuary. Got it. What about all the screens we stare at?
Yeah, the blue light from our devices can really interfere with your sleep. Avoid screens for at least an hour before bed, read a book, take a bath, listen to calming music.
No more scrolling in bed.
So we've covered nutrition and sleep. What about exercise? How does that affect focus? Exercise is like magic for your brain. It increases blood flow, boosts those important neurotransmitters, and even helps your brain's ability to change and adapt. We call that neuroplasticity.
So it's not just about getting physically fit, it's about getting mentally fit too. Are certain types of exercise better for boosting focus?
Aerobic exercise, like running or swimming, can improve memory and concentration. Strength training can enhance those executive functions, like planning and decision-making. And yoga, that combines physical activity with mindfulness, so it's a double whammy for attention span.
This is fantastic. We have so many tools to sharpen our focus. Now finally, tell me about a dopamine detox. What is that?
A dopamine detox is a way to reset your brain's reward system.
Interesting. But how does that actually work?
Think about all the things in today's world designed to trigger dopamine. Social media, video games, junk food, instant gratification. But it can also make us impulsive and less able to focus on tasks that require, more effort.
So it's like we're constantly bombarding our brains with dopamine hits, and that makes it harder to appreciate the things that don't give that immediate rush.
Exactly. A dopamine detox helps break that cycle by giving your brain a chance to kind of recalibrate and become more sensitive to those simpler pleasures of life.
Wow. Okay, so how do we actually DO a dopamine detox?
A good place to start is a 24-hour digital detox. Disconnect from your devices, spend time in nature, read a book, have an actual face-to-face conversation. Just be present.
That sounds incredibly refreshing. And the crazy thing is we've only just scratched the surface.
Oh yeah, there's so much more to explore. But for now, we need to take a short break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with even more insights and tips for training your brain like a genius.
Welcome back. It's pretty amazing how much control we actually have over our cognitive abilities, We're not just along for the ride, we're driving.
I love that. It's so empowering to think that we can actually shape and mold our brains just by the choices we make. Absolutely. And that leads right into something we talked about earlier, neuroplasticity.
Okay, remind me again, what is neuroplasticity?
Think of it as your brain's built-in upgrade system. It's the ability to rewire itself, in response to new experiences.
So our brains are always evolving and adapting
Yeah.
based on what we do and
Yeah.
how we think.
Exactly. When it comes to focus, this means every time you're doing something that requires focus, like deep work or meditation, you're strengthening those neural pathways related to attention.
So the more we use those focus muscles, the stronger they get. I like that. But sometimes it feels like my focus just completely depends on my energy levels. If I'm tired or stressed, I can't get anything done.
Oh, absolutely. Your ability to focus is very connected to your energy levels, both physical and mental. That's why those things we talked about, sleep, nutrition, stress management, they all play a huge part.
So it's not just about the right techniques. It's about setting the stage for focus to really thrive.
That's it. And that's where mindfulness can be super helpful. Not just the formal meditation, but also just being aware of your internal state throughout the day.
So kind of like checking in and noticing, okay, I'm getting mentally drained. Maybe I need to take a break or switch gears.
Right. Be proactive. Tune into your energy levels so you can make adjustments before you completely hit a wall.
Makes so much sense.
Yeah.
It's like preventing burnout before it even starts.
Yeah.
I want to go back to that idea of the dopamine detox, though. It sounds like such a powerful way to reset your brain and regain control.
It really is. And it's especially important these days, We're just constantly bombarded with notifications and updates and endless information.
It's like we're living in a dopamine-fueled frenzy.
I know, right? And while those little dopamine hits can feel good, they really train your brain to crave more and more stimulation. It makes it harder to focus on things that don't give you that instant reward.
So it's like we're actually becoming addicted to distraction.
Kind of. A dopamine detox gives your brain a break, a chance to recalibrate. You can start appreciating the simple things again.
Okay, that sounds great. But how do we actually incorporate those detoxes into our lives
Yeah.
in a way that feels, doable?
It doesn't have to be drastic. Start by figuring out what activities are really triggering those dopamine surges for you. Maybe it's social media, binge watching, constantly checking email.
Oh, that's basically my entire evening routine.
Right, so maybe you set some boundaries, designate certain times for checking social media, or limit yourself to one episode a night.
So it's about being more aware of
Yeah.
how we're spending our time and attention.
Yes. And maybe try replacing those dopamine-heavy activities with something more enriching. Spend some time in nature, read a book, have a conversation, do something that brings you joy.
Okay, I like that challenge. Swap out mindless scrolling for a nature walk or a good book. So we've talked a lot about the mental and emotional side of focus. What about our physical surroundings? Do they play a role?
Definitely. Your environment can have a huge impact. Have you ever tried to work in a cluttered space with lots of noise? It's almost impossible.
Ugh, yes. I swear my brain can't relax when my workspace is messy. It's like visual noise competing for my attention.
That's because our brains are wired to notice anything new or different. When you're in a cluttered space, your attention is constantly pulled in different directions. It's exhausting.
Okay, so one simple but super effective thing we can do to improve focus is declutter.
Exactly. Get rid of anything you don't need, and that includes digital clutter too. Close those extra tabs, clear your desktop, and minimize notifications.
It's like creating a little sanctuary for your mind, a quiet, organized space.
And then there's noise. Some people love working in those busy coffee shops, while others need total silence.
I am definitely in the silence camp, but I know some people actually focus better with a little background noise.
It's different for everyone. Some people find that a little white noise or ambient music can actually help block out other more distracting sounds.
Like it creates this wall of sound to filter out the distractions.
Exactly. If noise is a problem for you, play around with different background sounds and see what helps. There are tons of apps with white noise, nature sounds, even instrumental music designed for focus.
And if you need complete silence, those noise-canceling headphones can be a game changer.
So we're learning about taking control of your environment to support focus. But there's one more important piece to this puzzle. Your mindset.
Mindset. Okay, explain.
What you believe about your ability to focus actually affects how well you do. If you think you get distracted easily or have a short attention span, you're more likely to just give in to those tendencies.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you think you're going to fail, you probably will.
right? But the good news is you can change your mindset. Start by paying attention to that inner voice.
Hmm.
What are you telling yourself about your ability to focus?
So instead of saying, I'm just not a focused person, I could try saying, focus is a skill I'm working on.
Exactly. And you can also try affirmations or even visualize yourself working with laser-like focus.
It's like giving your brain a pep talk.
Right. And remember, progress takes time. Just like getting physically stronger, building mental focus takes effort and patience.
So don't be too hard on yourself if you have a bad day or slip up. Keep practicing and believe in yourself.
That's the spirit. And celebrate those little wins along the way. Resist a distraction, finished a deep work session, brought your mind back from wandering. Give yourself some credit.
I love that. It's all about building momentum.
And as we wrap up this part of the deep dive, I want you to know you are not alone. So many people out there are trying to be more focused, more intentional with their attention.
It's like we're all in this together. And it's pretty cool to think that if we all work on it, we could create this ripple effect of positive change, you know?
Imagine a world where people are more present, more engaged, more productive.
That would be amazing. Okay, before we get too carried away, we do need to take a quick break. We'll be back to wrap up our deep dive and leave you with some final thoughts and takeaways for unlocking the full potential of your focused mind. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground in our exploration of focus, everything from how our brains work to practical techniques and even mindset.
It's really about taking all those different pieces and putting together your own personalized focus toolkit. What works best for you.
Exactly. And what's been so cool throughout this deep dive is realizing how much control we actually have over our own attention. It's not about being ruled by distractions. It's about actively deciding where you want to put your mental energy.
Yeah, the more you work on it, the better you get at recognizing those distractions and making those choices. Just like
Yeah.
working out a muscle, the more you use it, the stronger it gets.
Right. But let's be honest, no one can be on all the time. We all have those days when we just feel scattered and unfocused and kind of frustrated with ourselves.
Oh, for sure. And that's where self-compassion is so important. Being kind to yourself, especially when you're having a tough time.
So instead of getting down on yourself for a day of not so great focus, just acknowledge it and move on. Tomorrow is a new day.
Exactly. It's all about progress, not perfection. And remember, you're not alone in this. Everyone struggles with focus sometimes.
And if there's one thing we hope you take away from this deep dive, it's that focus is a skill you can build and get better at with practice.
Definitely. Don't be afraid to try different things and see what works best for you. Maybe deep work is your thing, or maybe you connect better with the Pomodoro Technique. Find what helps you tap into your own zone.
And don't be afraid to reach out to others who are working on this too. Share experiences, support each other, and celebrate your wins.
That's a great point. Just think about the impact we could all have if we all committed to being more focused and intentional with our attention. It could really change things.
I know, right? It's like we could create a whole new culture of deep work, being present, connecting with each other in a meaningful way. But as we wrap up this deep dive, we want to leave you with this question. What will you create with your newfound focus?
What goals will you finally achieve? What dreams will you chase after?
The possibilities are endless when you harness the power of focus. So go out there and do something amazing.
That's right. This is the deep dive. Signing off. Stay focused out there.